not depicted. From the 8th century onwards, we have seen a shift. There is now an emphasis on grandeur, and the originally filled with many images of the king. He is seen practicing archery with admirers looking on. He is seen at a festival or in a leisurely moment sitting on a swing. The temple celebrates all of life around, with the divinity at the center of it all. It also places the king very close to the focus at the center and celebrates his life and greatness. The guru or teacher of the king is made much larger than the king himself. The importance given to the teacher is in keeping with continuing traditions. The King Narasimha Mahadeva I is seen worshipping the Shivalinga, Vishnu and Mahishasuramarddini. Colossal pairs of animals originally guarded the stairways on all sides of the Jagmohan. The ones on the east are now placed before the entrance to the Bhoga Mandapa. The ferocious lions rear majestically above the elephants crushed below them. They awaken within us the attitude of fearlessness with which we are to face the demons of ignorance who block our path towards knowledge. Inspired by these fearless creatures who represent the potential within us, we proceed into the temple. Giant elephants and war stallions met the devotee at the other entrances to the Jagmohan. Today they stand on reconstructed platforms at a little distance from where they were originally placed. They are made with lifelike realism. The Bhoga Mandapa is at the entrance to the temple complex. The temple represents the entire cosmos. Here, where we have just come into the sacred grounds, we are surrounded by a world of effusive forms. They represent the joy of life. In Indic belief, the path to realization is one which leads to bliss. Musicians and dancers greet us here in the Bhoga Mandapa. In modern times, the lost form of the classical dance of Odissi was revived largely through the study of the dance movements portrayed here. The temple of Konarak celebrates life and the energy of the sun which pervades it all. There are elephants which are made in the ancient tradition, bearing the entire structure upon their backs. Men and women are seen in daily activities. We see soldiers, hunters, village folk, and noblemen. As divinity is seen in all of creation, all aspects of life receive the attention of the artist. The vital life of nature is seen in young maidens. The interconnectedness of all beings is expressed in combined creatures. Nagas represent the benign protection of nature. In the center of all the movement,
Snow-dusted peaks, fir-clad hills and enchanting slopes invites you when you come to the state of Jammu and Kashmir in winters. The breathtaking view is not a dream of a poet, but a gift of the winter to Gulmarg. Originally called Gauri Marg by shepherds, its present name Gulmarg was given in the 16th century by Sultan Yusuf Shah, who was inspired by its green slopes decorated with wildflowers. The 2.2-mile long and about a mile wide valley of Gulmarg, 32 miles from Srinagar, is situated at an altitude of 2,730 meters in the Pir Panjal ranges.
यहाँ बहुत ही सुंदर और खूबसूरत मौसम है. स्नो का देखकर बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है. No comparison to any part of the world, I must say. It is just like a snow carpet.
What makes the visit to this place much more pleasurable is the warm welcome that you receive from the locals. Every year, they eagerly await the arrival of visitors lured by the snow and the bloom of the pristinely beautiful Himalayan region.
बहुत सारे बिजनेस जहाँ के यहाँ लोकल किए हैं, तो उनके पास अपने अपने स्कीज़ भी हैं यहाँ पर. तो जो टूरिस्ट यहाँ पे आते हैं वो अपने मतलब खुशी से यहाँ पे स्कीइंग करते हैं, तो उससे वहाँ के बिजनेस भी लोकल जितने भी होते हैं तो उनका रोजगार मिलता है वहाँ से उससे.
And the snowfall of the season brings adventure lovers to the resort Gulmarg in droves. Skiing in Jammu and Kashmir is a thrilling and exciting experience for any adventure enthusiast, and Gulmarg is the favoured hotspot. The skiing resort, established in 1927 by two British Army officers, today has earned the distinction of being the best ski resort in the Himalayas. Gulmarg's slopes are all natural slopes, and a few gentle slopes of ski runs ranging from 200 meter to 1.5 miles are specially suited for beginners. It is also the highest lift-served ski resort in India. The best and longest skiing in Gulmarg is accessed by the gondola cable car lift, which allows a ski run of 2,213 meter. Opened in 2005, the gondola, about 4,000 meter, is the third highest in the world. Gulmarg is also the only skiing resort in Asia which offers heli skiing.
I think the Gulmarg offers a different skiing experience to many other places in the world. I think it's more of an adventure skiing. It's a little bit more backcountry skiing with gondola access. So it's quite a different experience to what you would get in Europe or North America or the Southern Hemisphere.
Ice hockey is a popular spectator sport, and the State Tourism Department organizes tournaments every year.
I'm from Canada, and all my friends and all my youth I played hockey, and it's good to see it here in India, in Kashmir. Hopefully everybody's having fun.
And then there is a snow rugby for those who want something different.
बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है यहाँ पे खेलने में, बहुत ही मज़ा आ रहा है और बहुत ही अच्छी गेम है. मैं चाहती हूँ कि जो बाकी स्टेट्स या कंट्रीज़ के लोग हैं वो यहाँ पे आए, पार्टिसिपेट करें और वो भी आई वांट देम टू फील द डिफरेंस हियर.
If you are looking for something more, head for the ice skating rinks. So those looking for an adventurous holiday, pack your bags and head straight for Gulmarg for the experience of a lifetime.
NGOs, पब्लिक, गवर्नमेंट सब लोग ने पार्टिसिपेट किया हुआ है, इसीलिए हम लोग का 80% हम लोग ने प्लास्टिक बैन सक्सेस हुआ है हम लोग का। जितना अभी और काम करना है गवर्नमेंट्स और पब्लिक सब मिल के धीरे धीरे करेंगे।
Hello and a warm welcome to another edition of To The Point. GDP numbers in the last few days have been making headlines for the new methodology, benchmarks, parameters, and also about the institutional responsibility. For all this and much more, I'm joined by Niti Aayog Vice Chairman, Mr. Rajiv Kumar. I welcome you on the show.
Hi.
So GDP numbers have been rolling year after year, but this year, more than the numbers, the methodology is being talked about, especially of the back series data. So my first question to you is that what was the need to bring in the back series data?
Yeah. So I must first start off by saying that this whole thing about back series and releasing of this data, etc., doesn't really concern the common person on the ground, who is much more concerned with her daily life and and the economic activity and jobs and growth, because this is a technical matter, but this is of great importance to researchers and to those who want to study the Indian economy. And let me explain why, which is that you have the GDP growth calculated year after year after year, as you are saying, but then this is always done with the base year,
right.
And which is supposed to be 100, and then you calculate the growth over that, especially for the prices which keep changing and so on, and then you change this base year after a while. So what had happened in 2015, that the GDP growth, the base year was changed to 2011-12, and this is
from 2004 and 5.
2004 and 5, and this is done because you want to capture the structural changes in the economy, so that the share of sectors have changed and the prices have changed, etc. So the base year changes have probably happened more than 6 times since our independence, not even the first time it has happened.
So
but
you mean to say that the base year has been changing?
The base year has changed many times.
Many times, okay.
And this year also the same thing. And but when the new series was released in 2015, they did not release it beyond 2011-12, and they but then they had promised that they will extend it backwards to 2004-5 to put all that data on the same plan, on the same consistent basis,
right.
so that people could compare.
Okay.
And that has taken a long time. It has been waiting for 2.5 years. And as I said, this has been done before. It hasn't caused ever such a issue, but it has done so because I think some people have chosen to politicize it. Because there was a regime change, in 2014, and therefore, if you look at the data before that, that was that was the government. There was a different government in place, and,
right.
and so. But I can assure you, and I want to assure all the spectators, all the audience, that there has been nothing, zero political intention or motivation or driving this. It's been a very straightforward technical exercise that's done by CSO year after year and on many times before that.
Right. The political rhetoric, of course, is very unfortunate, which is happening, and that is why it's all the more responsibility to explain to the viewers that what are these new parameters, what are the new benchmarks. Like, for example, you said that the base year has been changing, and it has changed many times. But what are the other parameters which you have included?
So what the base year has changed, but but for the estimation of growth for each sector, the coverage has become much larger, from the previous year. So that's a very big change. For example, in the case of, let's say, the industry, corporate sector, the manufacturing sector growth, earlier it was estimated on the basis of ASI, Annual Survey of Industry data, which had only the factories and establishments there.
Right.
Now, since 2010-11 onwards, the CSO has used the data made available for by the Ministry of Corporate Affairs,
Okay.
which is at the enterprise level.
Okay.
So each enterprise may have more than one factory, but all of that is consolidated in the balance sheet of that enterprise.
Okay.
Now, the earlier numbers I think were a few thousands. This number is 500,000 units have been covered. So the data has become much bigger.
Right.
Similarly, in the agricultural sector, in the services sector, earlier, let's say the growth of telecommunication services was extrapolated from the growth of the number of mobile phone subscribers.
Okay.
Now, this is very big. It has changed, has grown, by 20, 30, 40%. But you can well imagine that the number of the growth, or the number of subscribers is not the same thing as the amount of data used, or the voice used, because that can be much less. Because each subscriber may be buying 2 phones, etc.
Right.
So now they have used the minutes of voice or data use, and the growth in that.
Okay.
So similarly, I can go on, but the essential point is that the coverage has become much bigger,
Right.
and the methodology is now in sync with the latest global standard, which is called the System of National Accounts of the UN 2008.
Okay.
So our data is now completely in sync with that, so that it is globally comparable when it was not, and we have used a much bigger coverage to make the data far more representative of the economy than what it was in the previous series.
You said that, of course, the base year has now changed to 2011 and 12. So, which means that from now on, all the national accounts or whatever data calculations are coming will be based on this particular year.
They already are.
Okay.
They already are. The idea was to take it backwards to 2004-05, so that the whole data from that period, 2004-05 to 2018-19, 17-19, can be on the same level, can be on the same basis, so that people can compare it.
Okay.
Otherwise, there was a break in 2011-12,
Okay.
and that break had to be had to be reconstructed, as it were,
Right.
so that the entire series becomes. But it's a very technical question.
Right.
As I said earlier, it's a question that concerns much more the researchers and the people who are trying to see how the economy is doing on a longer term period. Then it would concern anything in the present day policy making or in the present day business world.
But as what you just explained, that there are too many factors and such a widespread inclusion of units and entities as far as the corporate sectors are concerned. So is the confusion because of this, that maybe the people who are making so much of noise on the GDP numbers, they themselves are not aware of how inclusive the data is going to be?
The whole thing has taken so much attention because the growth rates during the UPA government have now been shown to be on an average 1.5 percentage points lower than before.
Right.
And that's caused a huge furor in the sense that why has that happened? And that has happened principally because everybody accepts this, that in an earlier period the growth of the services sector, what is called the tertiary sector,
Right.
was overestimated. And there are 3 sectors which are principally responsible for this. One is the telecommunication that I mentioned, the other is the financial services, and the third is the informal trade sector.
Okay.
Now, unorganized trade sector.
Right.
And these 3, the services sector, the growth rate was highly overestimated, and those overestimates have now been corrected by using the right methodology and the right coverage.